welcome back. Here again to talk about finances and how they really can be a blessing to you, your family, community, all of humanity, and of course the body of Christ when they're managed properly. And today we are going to talk about another wealth basic tool, and that is compounding. We're going to talk about what it is and how it can help you to accelerate your wealth journey. Now, there is compound interest, which we'll talk about, but we want to also really concentrate on compound returns that we see in investments. Now, Einstein was so impressed with the concept of compound interest, he called it the eighth wonder of the world and said that those who understood it earned it, and those who didn't, well, they paid it. So let's talk about it. All right, so what is compounding? Well, let's start with compound interest. So simply put, compound interest is earning interest on your interest. So not only on the principal or the money that you may have put into an account, but actually earning additional interest on the interest. That's a really nice cycle. Now, that also can work against us because if you have a credit card, often what happens is that if you don't pay that balance off at the end of the month, well, there may be accrued interest or interest that keeps building up, and then you end up paying interest on interest. That makes it a lot harder to pay off whatever it is that you owe. Now, in addition to that, there is compound returns. So, and every time that we invest in the stock market, we have an opportunity to see an increase on our investment. And if we leave it there and we don't cash it in, and there's not a huge drop in the market like there has been lately, we'll just continue to accumulate additional returns. So what we do is we reinvest our capital gains or the amount of increase that we are seeing on our assets. We just leave it alone and let it just keep rolling along. The same thing if we have dividends, which are also extra monies that companies pay out to their shareholders. We can also just let it ride and let those continue to increase the overall value of our assets. There's a story about a king who wanted to reward someone in his kingdom, and he gave the person the option. They could either have $1 million right now today, or they could have 1 penny. And that 1 penny could double in value for 30 days. Which do you think the person chose? Well, they chose the 1 penny. Do you think that was a good choice, a right choice? Is it one that you would have chosen? Well, as it turns out, that wasn't a bad choice at all, because of compounding and the effect of compounding. Starting on day 1, if you start with a penny and you double that, well, on day 2, you're going to have 2 cents. But by day 10, you'll have a whopping $5.12. That million is looking pretty good, huh? But by day 20, you're at around $5,000 roughly, about $5,200. But on day 25, still continuing to double, you're over $125,000. And by day 30, hold your hats, over $5 million. Now, generally, we don't see that kind of compounding in the real world, but it does give us an example of the power of compounding. Well, let's give us more real life examples so that we really can get a feel for what it is that compounding can do for us. Let's take 2 folks. One is Narisa. She's a recent graduate, and the other is Lorray. He's currently a plumbing apprentice. Let's look at them and their wealth journey. Narisa is 22 years old. She invests $1,000 one time, and she's going to earn a rate of 8%. Now, that's not really that unusual because the stock market has earned over the past 100 years, an average of about 10%. Larissa is going to leave this money in place until she's 65 years old. And remember I said, she doesn't do anything else, just the one time. Well, at the end of that time, she will have about $27,000. Now, that's really not too bad, and we need to give Larissa a hand. Especially if she also by this time has rental properties, she has IRA, then that may not be too bad. However, if that's all the money that she has, then that money could go very, very quickly. Well, Larry's a plumbing apprentice. He's a little older than Larissa. He is 29 years old. He starts his financial journey with $500, and he's going to invest an additional $500 or about $125 per week. He's going to continue this until age 65. And yeah, it is a sacrifice for him. Yeah, he's got to make some sacrifices and cut some things out. There are some things he's not going to be able to do, but he does earns that same 8%. Remember, same thing as Larissa. How much do you think he's going to have? He's going to have over $1 million. He will be a millionaire through his consistent investment and through the power of compounding. Larry, we salute you. That's all wonderful, but I also know that there are people who are not 22, they are not 29. They're what we call late bloomers, right? And you might be wondering, well, can it still benefit me as a late bloomer? Absolutely, it can. I've told you before, I didn't start really getting serious until I was in my late 30s. So there is hope, no matter which age. Let's talk about Luke. Luke is an office worker and he's 50 years old. Now, like Larry, he starts with an initial investment. He opens a brokerage and investing account with a brokerage firm, and he opens it with $500. And he continues to put in $500 a month, still buying index funds, something very simple and straightforward. He continues this until he is age 67. So for him, he's got 17 years worth of investing. Was it worth it for Luke? Well, at the end of that time, he would have over $200,000. Now, I'm sure you could find something to do with it, and it would certainly help out. And if he has any, and this is now outside of any Social Security or anything like that. This is just money that he has saved, he has invested, and he has benefited from compounding at age 50. What about Mary? Mary's 65 years old. She's already retired. Would it even be worth her time? Would it even be worth her effort? Could compounding do anything for Mary at this point in her life? Mary invests $500 initially. But again, I said she's already retired. So she doesn't have a lot of extra money, but she invests $100 a month, and she is consistent about it. Starts when she's 65. She continues to do that every single month until age 75. She's got 10 years. What could compounding do for her? Well, over that time, she would end up with about $18,000. Now, that's not a huge amount of money, but I tell you what, I bet you Mary could find something to do with that $18,000. So, what's our point here? If you want to accelerate your wealth, you have to start. Secondarily, you want to leave the investments and any profit, any interest as the case may be, any returns, leave them alone and let compounding take effect. It takes effect over time, but you can do it. And obviously, the younger you are, the better. But even if you start late in life, there is benefit to be gained. Start now. Be consistent. Start small and watch it grow. Pray that this bless you. Bye.